Her entire family, her mom, her aunt, her sister's friends, all got together and agreed to lie to her specifically. And when she found out, they told her she was being dramatic. I promise you, this story gets so much worse. Okay, so, two sisters. Chaotic childhood. The kind of household where trust wasn't exactly handed out freely. So these two built something between themselves that was supposed to be unbreakable. They were each other's person. The first call in a crisis. The one who always knew. That's the foundation. Remember that, because everything that happens next is going to hit a lot harder when you keep that in mind. A few years back, the older sister gets into a new relationship. And the younger sister, our girl, the one telling this story, she clocks something immediately. Just a vibe, just a low, quiet feeling every time this guy walked into the room. But her sister was happy. Like, genuinely happy. Maybe for the first time in a long time. So she buried it. She smiled at dinner. She liked the couple photos. She told herself she was being paranoid. She was not being paranoid. So here's where it starts. Our girl is at a birthday party for a mutual friend. Normal night. Few drinks in. She ends up talking to someone who knows her sister's fiancé through work. And this person, completely offhand, drops something about how the fiancé and his ex had finally stopped being messy. She keeps her voice totally even. Asks what they mean. And what comes out of this person's mouth turns her entire stomach upside down. The fiancé had been in an on again, off again situation with his ex-girlfriend. And it hadn't ended until, and I need you to really clock this timeline. Just a couple of months before this conversation, this man had been engaged for over a year. The overlap wasn't a rumor. It wasn't a, well, we don't really know. It was real. It was recent. And it had been happening while her family was throwing engagement parties. Taking holiday photos. Crying happy tears. Okay, so naturally she goes to her sister. That same week, she lays it out carefully. Gently. She's not coming in hot. She's not trying to blow anything up. She's just being the person she's always been. The first call in a crisis. Her sister doesn't cry. Doesn't look shocked. Goes very quiet, and then says, almost flatly, I already know. I've known for a while. Please just stay out of it. I'm sorry. What? She walks out of that apartment without saying a word. But now her brain is going. Because something about that response doesn't add up. Her sister knew. Okay, couples work through things. That happens. But why did she find out from a stranger at a birthday party? Why did nobody think to mention this to her? So she starts putting pieces together. And this is where it stops being about the cheating entirely. Her sister had known about the betrayal for a long time. And she hadn't exactly kept it to herself. She told their mom. She told their aunt. She told her two closest friends. Every single one of them knew. Every single one of them had agreed to stay quiet. And every single one of them had continued performing the perfect couple story. At every dinner, every party, every celebration, while our girl sat right there, fully in the dark, genuinely happy for her sister. Let me say that again because I need it to land. She was not a stranger. She was not some distant cousin they keep at arm's length. She was the sister. The one who shared a room with her growing up. The first call in a crisis. And she was the only person in the entire circle who was specifically, deliberately, coordinatedly not told. Okay, this is where it gets insane. She goes to her mom. Her mom, who looked her in the eye at a holiday dinner and raved about what a wonderful couple they were, while knowing the full truth. And her mom's response. Are you ready? Her mom says she was protecting her from unnecessary drama. That her sister had worked through things with her fiancé. That it was no longer anyone's business. The audacity is giving me vertigo. I genuinely cannot. And then the aunt. when pressed, tells her she's being dramatic. And then, a few days later, the aunt posts something vague on social media about family members who make everything about themselves. No names. Just enough. Just subtle enough to be cowardly and pointed at the exact same time. So now she's being gaslit and subtweeted by her aunt, in her 40s. But wait, it gets worse. Because she still hasn't gotten the answer to the only question that actually matters. Why her? Why was she specifically the one kept out of the loop? So she asks her sister directly. And her sister's answer? She said she hadn't told her because she knew she wouldn't be able to handle it and would make it a bigger deal than it needed to be. She sat with that for a long time. And eventually she figured out what it actually meant. Her sister didn't keep her in the dark because she was fragile. She kept her in the dark because she was honest, because her sister knew. She knew that unlike everyone else in that circle, this girl would not be able to quietly play along. So she just removed her from the equation, decided her integrity was an inconvenience, and let her sit at that table looking like the only fool in the room. She tells her sister she won't be at the wedding. She says it clearly. She says she still loves her, but she cannot stand at that altar, in her altered dress, in front of all these people who lied to her face, and celebrate something built on a lie that she was specifically chosen to be kept out of. Her sister's response is immediate. She's ruining the most important day of her life. She's punishing her for something her fiancé already answered for. And here's the thing that made me stop and actually think. She wasn't punishing anyone for the cheating. People make mistakes. Couples navigate betrayal all the time. That was never the point. The point was the architecture of the silence. The deliberate, coordinated decision. The group chat she wasn't in. The conversations that happened around her. Her mother weeping at the engagement party. Knowing. Her aunt clinking glasses at Christmas. Knowing. Her sister watching her express genuine joy for a relationship she had every right to be devastated by. And saying nothing. That's not a private matter between a couple. That's a conspiracy. And she was the target. The wedding is still weeks away. Her dress is hanging in the closet. Already altered. Her phone rings almost every day now. Her mom, her aunt, her sister's friends. All of them with slightly different versions of the exact same script. She's being selfish. She's making it about herself. She needs to show up and keep the peace. Keep the peace. For who? For the people who blew it up in the first place. Here's the thing that haunts me about this whole situation. Nobody, not one person calling her, has actually answered the question she keeps asking. If what her sister did was so private, so reasonable, so clearly none of her business, then why was everyone else told? Why did the circle include their mom, their aunt, multiple friends, but stop specifically at her? Nobody has an answer for that. Because there isn't a good one. The karma isn't clean here. There's no satisfying resolution yet. The wedding is still on. The family is still circling. And she's sitting alone with her integrity and a dress she can't return. Being told that she's the problem. But I'll tell you this. She asked the one question nobody could answer. And sometimes that's the whole thing. Sometimes that's exactly enough. So I need you to tell me right now. Was she wrong to skip that wedding? Or did her family completely lose the right to ask anything of her the moment they all sat down and decided she was the one person who didn't deserve the truth? Drop your verdict in the comments. I want every single take. Next up, a story that made our entire team go completely silent. No jokes, no reactions, just silence. You do not want to miss it. Subscribe so you never miss a single drop of drama. Stories shared on this channel are inspired by real experiences posted online. All details have been anonymized and rewritten. Any resemblance to specific individuals is coincidental.